Hey, everybody. Welcome to the third week, the Saturday of the third week of Culturama. And we are here with Tim Hatch. He's going to do memories. And I just want to let everybody know that we're keeping Culturama going all year long now because we have Zoom and we can do it. And it's going to be on weekends. And also, we're recording many of these, and we're putting it on the Culturama community page. Let me just show that, and then I'll put the link in the chat. Okay, so that is right here. It's very bare bones right now because I started it 2 weeks ago and I haven't had a chance to perfect it. But at least you have all of the videos there. And if you want to join it, if you'd like to follow this, you have to click on the follow button and you'll get email updates, and it's in the chat. So, all right, thank you all. And Tim Hatch.
That was the greatest introduction, thanks.
I can go on for a while if you like.
Nah.
Okay.
Hi everyone. My name is Tim Hatch. Actually, if it's all right, I guess I can talk about myself for 2 seconds. I would like everyone to just sort of, if unless you really don't want to, introduce yourself. Just say your name and I don't know what your experience with poetry is, or if this is the first time you've tried writing poetry, or whatever comes to your mind. What was that?
Some people aren't able to, don't have the speaker, so if they want to type it, I will voice for them.
Oh yeah, please. If you don't have a mic or whatever, please just feel free to type it in chat. Or if you are just shy and would rather type it in chat, that's fine too. So my name's Tim. I'm a professor at 3 different colleges locally. I write poetry and memoir, and lots of things that are terrible. But those are the 2 things that I've done that aren't terrible so far. And I've been doing this workshop for Mount Sax Culturama for, I think, 5 years now, maybe. And it's something I really enjoy doing. And I hope you get some, I hope you enjoy it. We're going to be talking about writing poems based on a memory we have, but we'll get into that in a bit. If I could get y'all to just like maybe say your name and what you like to write, or who one of your favorite writers is, or anything, anything that comes to mind in about a 30-second to a minute long sound bite. Let's start with Jeff. Jeff, who are you?
My name's Jeffrey Gressley. I've been writing for about 10 years now, and some of my favorite writers currently are like Neil Gaiman. Been reading a ton of his stuff. And who else? Oh, I'm about to start my yearly Lord of the Rings read. So
every year
in December. Yep.
Wow, that's impressive. I've only read it probably 4 times.
I'm a super nerd, bro.
Well,
I mean, professor.
Yeah. Professor Bro is fine.
Prof Bro?
Prof Bro.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, man. Anyone else? Just feel to jump in. I'm not going to call on names.
Okay, I'll go. I'm Lucretia Voigt. I write poetry and fiction. I live in Nantucket, Massachusetts right now, but I was born and bred in Eastern Kentucky, and most of my writing has that Eastern Kentucky in the background.
Nice.
I just accepted a position at Queen's University of Charlotte for an MFA program starting in January. That's like my big thing.
Congrats.
So, that's me.
That's fantastic. I'm jealous, to be quite honest with you. That's beautiful. Thank you. Who else?
My name's Francesca. I write fiction, mostly fiction, but the poetry I do write is depressing. And I guess my favorite poet is Margaret Atwood, because she's not a white male. I don't know. And I think Andrew should go next because it's his birthday.
That's a good reason. That's true. Happy birthday, Andrew.
Thanks. That was me providing Cheska with a very happy face. I'm Andrew. I write poetry and fiction and nonfiction and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I read a bunch of stuff too. So I think it's just always good to write in as many weird places and read as many weird things as possible.
I agree. And you're a publisher too, yeah?
Yes, sort of. I don't read much anymore, but yeah.
Or you so you're still basically running the show at East Jasmine, right?
I provide the money and that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that counts.
Yeah. So I do the money part, and then that's about it. So it makes it easy on me.
Nice. How long has that publication been coming out now?
It started in Culturama, sort of, because I had a conversation with Shannon Phillips.
Nice.
And so it's been about 6 years, 7 years,
Nice.
something like that.
Really? So I think I published in some of your earlier stuff then.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What's Shannon's publication? She has a zine, doesn't she?
Carnival.
Or
She did
Okay.
Carnival for a while, and now she's doing something else.
I just
Picture
said-
Show Press. Picture
Yeah.
Show Press.
Yeah,
Picture Show Press.
I just said zine because I'm 1,000 years old.
Well, you were also probably thinking of me.
And I was actually. What is your? I'm not going to say zine. What is your journal, Francesca?
Literary Alchemy.
Literary Alchemy. That's right. Nice. All right. Thank you. Who else? Anyone?
I'll go.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom or Thomas or T squared. I've been writing since I was in high school, before most of you were born. I like to say that. And I write poems.
What class year are you?
What?
Class of what?
73.
I was 4.
You were
Ha!
born?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anyway.
And I write poems, lots of poems and stories. And I have a small press, Royal Seco Press, named after where my mother lived on the river. And most of my inspiration is my wife, Michelle, who is listening, but not participating.
Hi, Michelle. All right. Does anyone else feel like introducing themselves, or should we just get started? Okay. Why don't we get started? I just see from, I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Magnacalia.
Nisa?
Yeah, this is Nikel, actually. Can you see me? Do I need to start?
I can see you.
Yes.
Oh. I just wanted to make sure. I'll start again. Hi, everyone. My name is Nikel Best. This is what my name looks like in sign language. I graduated from CSDR in Riverside, and I'm just here out of curiosity to see what I might gain from writing. It'd be my first time really engaging in poetry writing. And so I've enjoyed myself at Culturama so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's available here.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you. And I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Nisa Wasim from Pakistan. I'm 20. I'm doing my bachelor's in English literature. Awesome. I write fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. I want to become an author. That is excellent. Don't worry about it. That's all right. You don't need to talk into your mic. That's fantastic. Aruni, did I hear you?
Hey, Tim.
Hey, how are you doing?
Fine. I'm like scrambling around to find something to write on and something to write with.
Right on. No worries. Thanks for showing up.
Of course.
All right.
I'm a little disheveled.
Well, that's all right. I am too. So I guess why don't we kind of jump into this? Is when I started writing poetry, I wrote almost against my will about. I think I was writing a lot of self-therapy about my less than idealistic childhood and experiences growing up in an abusive household. And I have written several poems based on memories, and I have found that memory can be a really amazing doorway into a poem that doesn't necessarily have to be a 100% accurate account of the lived experience you had. There's a difference between our memories and our stories, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later. Well, no, maybe I'll actually talk about that right now really quick. I think I'm quoting my friend Michelson Knapp, who said this to me maybe 6 months after I met him, which would have made him, I don't know, 20 something years old. He had no business being this talented or insightful at 24 or whatever he was. But he said, our memories are sacred because they're what make us who we are, but our stories are not. And what he was trying to tell me with that piece of wisdom was that our stories can be, if we're writing a story or a poem or whatever based on an event that happened to us, based on a memory we have of an experience we had, we don't have to be 100% faithful to the truth. That's what the memory is for. And then the story can be played with and tweaked and changed. And the point is not to betray the memory so much as it is to serve the story or to serve the poem. When you are proposing to write something for other people to consume, I think it's important to do everything you can to make that thing its absolute best. And if that means tweaking a detail, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if you have a concern about remaining 100% faithful to the actual truth of the event that you're writing about, that is great. And maybe you can honor that as much as you possibly can while still servicing the story. Maybe sticking as close to the spirit of the memory as you possibly can. I'm sorry, was I interrupting someone? No.
Yeah, somebody had forgotten they left the microphone on.
Oh, okay. I thought someone was trying to ask a question or something. But no worries. So anyway, with that in mind, I'm gonna ask you all a series of questions. Well, first I'm gonna ask you all to think of a memory. It can be a recent memory. It can be a memory from childhood. It doesn't even have to be particularly strong memory. The stronger, the better. But if you've got a memory that sticks in your head of, I don't know, like an Easter when you were 4 years old and all you've got are some colors, that's all right. And then I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'll put the questions up when I'm done, but I'm going to ask them kind of fast. And the goal is to get you to write an answer as quickly as possible. And I honestly don't even know, how many questions do I have here? Maybe a dozen. It's not that many. So anyway, what I'd like you all to do is go back in your mind to a very specific memory. It can be good, it can be bad. Please keep in mind, I am going to ask people to share what they come up with, but you don't have to share anything you are not comfortable sharing. So feel free to become to be as specific and personal as you want. You do not have to share with the group. If you wish to, that would be awesome, but not required. Okay, so yeah, whatever you're comfortable writing and talking about in a public setting. And then the only requirement that the memory needs to be something that impacts you in any way. And it could be a memory that stays with you or keeps returning over and over in your head. And maybe you're not even sure why, but you keep having this memory. Or maybe it could be something that changed how you see the world or how you saw the world at whatever point in your life the memory took place. So I'm going to give you all maybe another 10 seconds or so to come up with something, and hopefully that's enough time. If anyone has any questions, feel free to interrupt me at any point. And okay, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can put up a clock here. No, that would be too easy. I have a Windows 7 machine. That's not going to happen. That's all right. I'm going to go for maybe 30 seconds per answer. Here's the first question. In this memory, are you alone or are there others with you? If there are others, how many people and who are they? I'll give you about 30 seconds to answer that. All right, that was roughly about 30 seconds. Moving on. In the memory, what are you wearing? And then if there are other people in that memory, what are they wearing? And do the clothes you are wearing or the clothes they are wearing say anything about who you are or who they are? Is it a uniform, work clothes, or what are they? What are you wearing? What are they wearing? Okay, and in this memory, are you holding or carrying anything? What about the people you're with? Are they holding or carrying anything? All right. In this memory, what are you doing? Is it a physical activity? Are you standing around having a conversation? How about the people you're with? What are they doing? Okay. Are you outside or inside? What's the weather if you're outside? Is it warm or cold, dry or wet? Which are officially the only seasons in California. I'm sure there's others.
Did you just say dry and wet is the only seasons in California?
Warm or cold and dry and wet, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or some combination of those. Sometimes it's dry and cold and sometimes not. Sometimes it's wet and cold. This morning it was very dry and cold. Okay, outside, I'm sorry, I have to scroll down on my Word doc. Outside or inside, what are your immediate surroundings? Are there trees nearby or a refrigerator or a gigantic old stove that weighs 6,000 pounds? Maybe the Grand Canyon. What are your immediate surroundings? All right, this next question, I'm probably only going to give you 15 seconds to answer because it's so simple. What city are you in? Or what country? And what time of day is it? Morning, noon, night? Do you have something specific? Is it 3:20 in the afternoon? And in this memory, are there any distinct smells? Trying to come up with an example. I remember the first time I walked into an Indian restaurant. That is as distinct a smell as I could think of. It was overwhelming and new for me. And now when I walk into an Indian restaurant, I don't even notice the smell. It just smells good. Yeah, are there any distinct smells associated with this memory? I'm going to be quiet so you can think and write. All right. Is there anyone who is not with you but nearby? Can they see or hear you? Can you see or hear them? What are they saying or doing? So I don't know, if you're hanging out with friends in this memory, or are there people across the street? Are they in an argument? Are they just whatever, talking politics? What are they doing? And can they see what you are doing? And what is the reason you or your group of people you're with, what is the reason you are here, wherever you are in the memory? Why are you all there? And this next one is a little strange, two-part question. First one, not so strange, I guess. What is the temperature outside your body? And part two of this question, what is the temperature inside of your body? I'll give you about 20 more seconds on that one. All right. And again, I'll put these questions up when I'm done here. And this is the last question that I'm going to ask you for the moment. If you could say something to the you in your memory or to the other people in your memory, what would you say? So if you now could say anything to you then, what is it you would say? And I'll give you about 45 seconds. Yeah, I'll give you about 45 seconds for that one. Okay. I know that was not a whole lot of time to write anything. And I'll put these questions up actually right now. I saw someone asking. So I'll share my screen. Hopefully you can all see that. So now that you've answered these questions, I'm going to leave this up. What I'd like you to do is describe the memory. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, basically. Yeah, I'll give you about 5 minutes, and I'll put a timer on my computer here. Give you about 5 minutes to write as detailed a description of the memory as possible. What is it? What is going on in that memory? Be as specific as you can, using as many of the details from this list of questions as you can. And when the 5 minutes is up, I'll ask volunteers, brave volunteers, to share what they came up with. Hopefully we'll have a couple of people who won't mind sharing. So yeah, go ahead and write.
So we're writing a description, not a poem?
You were starting with a description of the memory.
Okay.
This would be the part where personally I would focus on being as faithful to the literal truth of the memory as possible. I think we'll go probably another 2.5 minutes. 2 minutes, something like that. We'll wrap it up in about 45 seconds. I'm going to kill my screen share. I'll post these questions into the chat though. Okay. I know someone just came in. Hi and welcome. The questions I was having everyone write in response to these questions I just posted to the chat about a specific memory that you have. If you want to write some stuff down, that would be awesome. So for those of you who have just been writing, does anyone have anything that they would care to share with us? Pretty please. That's my pretty please smile. I'll make it closer to the camera.
Sure.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kelsey.
Kelsey, hi, yeah.
It is summertime in Long Beach. I'm at my sister's new job working in a costume shop. She's invited me to spend the afternoon playing pretend. The shop is dark and cooler than outside, but the smell of warm clothes musky hits me like a waft. Old leather and polyester fill the nostrils, though somewhere also the spiced scent of yesterday's incense. My sister is a theater geek. She acts and plays and studied directing at UCSC. She is in a flowery dark dress and dangly earrings, handmade Ren Fair jewelry. She shows me the back room filled with costumes, tells me I can try on anything I want. Silks and laces, mermaid sequins, pirate garb. And that's as far as I got.
I love that. Thank you very much. What is the, how do we clap, John? Is it spirit fingers? I'm giving you spirit fingers for that. That was awesome. God, I love that. That was cool. Anyone else?
I'll go.
Excellent. Thank you. Robin.
Okay. In this memory, I am about 3 or 4 years old and am with my maternal grandfather in the backyard of his home in downtown Huntington Beach. I am holding his hand and he is describing to me the trees and shrubs in the backyard. There are rings of rocks around the trees and abalone shells too. I am most taken by the large lantana near the clothesline. This was because the colors looked to me like ice cream. Grandpa wore a plaid flannel shirt and a gray fedora. I don't remember why I was there or what time of day it was. What I would tell myself, the 3-year-old self, if I could, was to hang on to this memory, this day, like a photograph, because it will not last forever.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I love the ring of rocks and abalone shells around the tree. I love that image. I can see that. That's fantastic. Can I get a couple more volunteers? Anyone?
I'll
Yes, Lucretia.
Okay. I don't remember the scream, which I'm sure he did when he cut his hand because the blood was eagerly escaping. I remember the blood, but not the scream. We didn't have bandages, but my grandmother would. She was always prepared, always ready for disaster. I do remember his voice, calm even though the blood was dripping on the driveway. Lou, run to Mimi's and get some bandages. And so I ran. Barefoot on the concrete of the driveway, gravel hitching a ride between my toes. barefoot across the hot asphalt, burning under the noonday July sun, barefoot through Mr. and Mrs. Burke's yard, the man who always had peppermints for us. He had given up trying to grow grass on the path we had worn beside the line of pine trees that led to my grandparents' backyard. Barefoot through the break in the chain link fence, barefoot over the grass slick from the morning thunderstorm. That's as far as I got.
Nice. I love that. Thank you. Thomas, you volunteered. And yeah.
Yes, I did. Okay. I'm 5 and we were coming home to West Covina from visiting Yellowstone Park. On the way, we drove to Salt Lake City to visit with my dad's best friend when he was in the Marines in World War II. His friend's name was Mac McMillan. Mac was a Mormon. He had grown up in Salt Lake City, but he was not a good Mormon. They had bought me a set of Cowboys and Indians, and I had set them up on the small table, and I was sitting on the floor, and I played with them as I often did, played out some long, elaborate story when most of all the Plaxis pieces were dead in the end. Then I sang a song. It was the only thing I remember from visiting Mac and his family.
Awesome. Thank you. I remember playing Cowboys and with Cowboys and Indians set. That's probably something that we don't need to bring back for the nostalgia of it. But I remember playing with one that brought back some powerful memories. Thank you, Thomas. Anyone else have anything they want to share? We good? All right. Okay. All right. So I will pick this up. We're going to do part 2 of this, which is okay, yeah, sorry. I have to get caught up to speed here. I have an outline I'm working off of. So now that you've written all that out, and I know a lot of you maybe didn't get as far along as you could have with that memory, but that's okay. We'll have more time to work on this. But the next step is to try and think of a specific image that this memory calls to mind. It might be something as random as, well, like I'll go back to that ring of rocks and abalone shells around the tree. Like, that's a great image. And some of you have already done this, but if that's the case, what is another memory, or what is another image that this memory calls to mind? And if you can come up with 1 or 2 or even 3 of those, that would be great. And don't worry about whether or not it makes sense. Just come up with the image and then just write it down. Try to write the image, capture the image as specifically as you can. Don't worry about telling a story with this. Don't worry about relating information. Just worry about focusing on the image. And let's go maybe another 4 or 5 minutes. And I think that's probably enough time. But if y'all need more time, I guess let me know and we can probably go another minute or 2 beyond that. But yeah, I'll put up a timer on my end again for 5 minutes. Think of an image that specifically comes to mind as a result of the memory that you just shared or that you just wrote about. And if you have time to do more than one image, all the better. I'm going to be quiet now. And I'm also going to get up and take my sweater off because it's now no longer 50 degrees in here. I'll be right back. I am back. I apologize. So my timer went down while I stepped away, but I think we'll go another 2 minutes. That should be plenty of time unless everyone is done or needs more time. Just let me know if you need more. John, this goes till when? 10:30?
Yeah, 10:30.
Thank you. Okay. If you're still writing, go ahead and finish that up. But does anyone have anything that they would care to share with us? An image or two? Jeff, did I see a hand? Andrew, I saw a hand. Jeff, you want to go? And then Andrew?
So we're just sharing the secondary image from the first main image, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so I have puppy bites on brown shoes, the swagger of a miniature Great Dane named after the sacred, but really only a few spots shy of being a Dalmatian.
Nice. I had no idea there was such a thing as a miniature Great Dane.
Completely made up.
Okay, that's even better. Miniature Great Dane, how cool. Awesome, thank you. Andrew.
Well, this is my bad because it took me 45 minutes to come up with a memory.
That's all right.
But this one is the one I got that's it's 3 toes, 2 smaller ones and the big one in a metal bowl of ice.
Holy shit, okay. Wow, well, I'm intrigued. I love that, thank you. Anyone else have an image that they would be able to share with us?
Oh, I'll go.
Oh, thank you so much, Robin.
Welcome. Cascades of fuchsia flowers, the thick, sweet scent of the honeysuckle vines, a chain link fence, status, pink and blue hydrangeas, the lantana with its ice cream colors.
Nice, okay. Beautiful, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So I guess here's what I'll do. I'm going to talk about myself for a minute. I'm actually going to talk about an experience. Hi, Jeff. I knew that would get a laugh out of you. I'm going to talk about an experience I had when I was a kid. I'm not going to go into detail on the experience I had. When I was a kid, my dad got pissed off at me. I grew up in an abusive household, and my dad once got so angry with me that he broke his finger poking me in the chest. Poking me in the chest several times. And so he broke his finger, and which was awesome, by the way, the part where he broke his finger. So I wanted to write a poem about that, and I was having the absolute just most difficult time getting into the poem. And I don't know, for me, the solution wound up being the image, not of his broken finger, but you know, if you're in an experience, whether it's a really enjoyable experience or a really unenjoyable experience, how sometimes you can hyper focus on one thing and then that thing sort of takes up your entire field of vision. So what I was doing was hyper focusing in this moment on my father's mouth. And I just remembered him, like his mouth kind of became the entire horizon. And he was just yelling at me, and his teeth were just yellow. He was a smoker, and then later when he gave up smoking, he chewed tobacco, which arguably an even dumber habit. And then he had like that white filmy whatever, it's spit, I guess, in the corners of his mouth. And as he was yelling at me, it was just these yellow teeth just up and down, and the spit opening and closing with the mouth at the corners of the mouth. And that, when I had the image of that, that was the image, that was the doorway into this poem that I wrote, which is, it's a ugly poem, whatever. It's an ugly experience, but it's one of the poems that I'm most proud of, in that it has successfully communicated that moment to a lot of people. And I've had a lot of people come up to me after readings and talk about, you know, me too, right? They went through something similar with their parents. So that image, though, is my doorway into the poem, that image of my father's mouth. And I guess I can, I don't know, if there's time, I guess maybe I'll read that, but I don't want to do that at the moment. Well, the only other thing I will say is that poem ends with another image of me cutting myself. In other words, so my father, the truth of this memory is my father poked me enough times that I had all these fingertip-sized bruises on my chest. And I saw my reflection in the, you know, fluorescent light of the bathroom later that night. And when I was thinking back on it, I was like, they looked like musical notes to me. And so the poem ends with me cutting staff lines with a razor, like sheet music. And the thing is, I was saying earlier how our memories are sacred and our stories are not. I was never a cutter. I have all kinds of problems. Trust me, there's a long list of problems I carry with me as a result of growing up in that house, and that I've spent several years in therapy working through. But cutting was never one of those problems. But it just seemed dramatically, I guess, like the right move to make for that particular poem. I don't feel that making that departure from the truth in any way betrays the memory. It serves the poem, which is, I think, ultimately for me, and everyone's going to have their own opinion and their own sense of what a poem, what purpose a poem has. But for me, that's my primary concern when I'm writing a poem for other people to read. What do I need to do to make this the strongest poem possible? And that's kind of where I'm coming from when I say it's okay to depart from the truth, especially if you think that it honors the truth somehow, which I do think it honors the truth, that particular image, because God knows, even though I wasn't a cutter, I spent decades engaging in all kinds of self-harm as a result of what I grew up with. So anyway, what I would like y'all to do now is do round 3 of this, and I'm going to do another 5 minutes, and then if I could get some brave souls to volunteer what they have, that would be awesome. And then I guess if anyone has questions or whatever, we can do that too. But yeah, 5 minutes. Try and use one of the images that you came up with, whether it was from this second time around or the first time around, as sort of the doorway into this memory. Try your best to create sort of a new thing between the description of the memory that you have and the image that you came up with, or the images that you came up with. And remember that, you know, it's not necessary to use every single piece of information gathered when you were answering all those questions. If you can, that's great. But, you know, if you're like, I don't know what the hell the temperature was inside my body, cool, throw that out. Don't use it. All right, I'm going to be quiet. So let's go 5 minutes, which will put us coming back about 10:03, a little after 10:03. Hey, Kelsey. And hi, Ruby. So the last instruction was to take the image that you came up with and use it as a doorway into the poem. So try and create a third thing that combines the imagery that you have with the description of the memory that you wrote down. And don't worry about holding on to every single piece of information from that list of questions. That's the short version, I guess, of what I said. You're welcome. And I guess why don't we go till 10:04 just to give Aruni and Kelsey a few extra seconds. Precious seconds. About another minute and a half. All right. If you are still writing, go ahead and continue writing. But does anyone have anything they could share? Yes, Andrew, thank you. I was going to call on you no matter what, because I have to know what the hell's going on with that.
So somebody was, when they were talking first section, totally reminded me of this, and thank God, otherwise I would just be sitting here going that. So I'm going to actually do something with this, but for now it's called On Ice. My dad's friend Jay had mowed our lawn and his foot.
Oh, shit.
Called to act, I grabbed a metal mixing bowl, scuffed from use and filled with ice and water, and hunted for toes in the grass like Easter. I recall sunlight on the grass. Jay was gone, already off to the hospital. My dad plucked the toes from the grass after spotted and placed them in the bowl. Off to the hospital, I carried the bowl in my lap. Ice water cold, float toes, the biggest like a root vegetable sloshing along in the dusty truck cabin.
Oh my God, Andrew, that is amazing. And I apologize for laughing. Giving you the spirit fingers. Holy crap. That is amazing. How old were you?
I have no idea, but I was somewhere between 6 and 10.
Okay. Probably young enough that could almost be amusing more than horrifying.
It was probably both.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that.
The thing is, like, the only thing I can really remember is like the bowl of ice in my lap and a big old toe.
Also, bravo on your use of the word sloshing. It's never been more horrifying. I absolutely love that. That was so good. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything that they would care to share with us? Aruni?
Okay. The road between the Asuncion airport and the house has such a nuanced aroma. The base notes are red cattle-churned earth and wet grass. The next layer is the smoke from distant trash fires from the outskirts of town. This blend is punctuated with gasoline fumes and the sudden metallic spike of blood from the skinny stray dog my host father hits with the car.
Oh.
Sorry, I muted myself. I love that. Thank you. I love that smell too. That smell of wet earth and grass. They're two of my favorite smells. I see your cat, by the way. At some point, I've been meaning to ask you about one of your, I don't know how to describe it, but one of your knitted cat butt.
Oh, coasters?
Yeah, coasters.
Do you need one?
I would love to buy a set from you.
We will talk later.
We can talk later, yeah. Hey, it's Lloyd. Does anyone else have anything they would share with us?
I'll go.
Hey, Robin, awesome. Thank you.
Okay. My tiny starfish-shaped hand, encased by your time-worn fingers, We walked around your garden with its rock-trimmed trees, abalone shells near garden borders, the lantana with its ice cream colors, the only plant you did not name for me, the one plant that I remembered most, its ice cream colors. Even at 3, I knew that, the ice cream colors. It's as far as I got.
I love that. Thank you.
Welcome.
And I didn't give Andrew or I don't think I gave Andrew or Rudy the spirit fingers there, but damn, I really am loving hearing these, you guys. Someone else want to volunteer what you have? Jeff?
Okay. We are all that nervous, happy, awkward, the kind that makes any drinking feel heavy, but we're eager to have this part of the day over and not just be repeating marriage vows composed of letters, but set ourselves to the temperature of the spirit. Some promise. It feels 74 in here. Everyone's dressed close to formal in pale greens, and Norwalk pushes out newlyweds like car crashes, and an old man cautions me forward with his crooked gait and pressed green suit, smiling at me, eager to see what happens next.
Nice. I love that, Jeff. Thank you. Anyone else? Thomas and Shema. Thomas and then Shema.
I don't know if I was following instructions because sometimes I get caught up in thought.
That's all right.
I wrote a little image, alone in my world, enmeshed in story, myopic outside, full world inside.
Nice. Nice.
Nice.
By the way, I'm never going to be upset with anyone who gets caught up in thought. I think it's a rare skill, an increasingly rare skill. Okay, Shema.
I am nearly full of kufta and spiced rice. The lights and commotion keep me from dozing off. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Food comes out on platters in piles. I pick sticky baklava layers up with my fingers and smile gapped teeth at my father, who laughs. It's nice to remember he can laugh, that yelling in a closed room can be pleasant. The Amus sip strong mint tea from small glasses. I remind myself to steal more sugar cubes from the lobby. He talks forever, so I stuff my pockets while my mom changes my little brother in the bathroom. She's done waiting, so we drift outside, but we don't turn towards the car to wait while he pays. Our feet patter on the planks of wood that lead us away from the light. I stop near their end, grateful to take off expensive shoes that make me pay with raw flesh and rub. The sand is heavy and cool, and my blister eats it hungrily. The voices and cigarettes behind us get quieter as we move into the swells. My brother is fascinated with the shells, and I run to dip my toes in the cool wash of water. The breeze is soft, and I am round and warm in my coat. I sit away from the water's suck, and my mother stuns me by dropping her wool coat into the sand and sitting beside me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. By the way, kofta and rice is one of my favorite meals ever. That was wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? And if not, does anyone have any questions about anything?
I have a question.
Sure.
So if people want to do this on their own, want to draw from memory, what is
Yeah.
the technique you were using?
Well, this is just a writing exercise, but I've actually used, thank you for asking that. There's and actually there's a whole segment of this that I do when we don't have a pandemic, where I make everyone before they write that third part, I ask them to go for a walk. Like just take like 3 to 5 minutes, walk around the building, walk in the building if it's raining or whatever, although I don't know that it's ever been raining. And just make a note of anything they see that captures their interest for whatever reason. And if they run into anyone, what do they say to that person? What did the person say to them? And the reason I asked them to do that is just because it's sort of a third or another layer of thinking. You know, the physical activity, even for something as simple as just a light stroll, can get us to think about things and process information in different ways. And so this is the first time I've done this on Zoom, obviously, and I decided it would be just weird to make everyone walk around their own home, and probably something a lot of us are painfully familiar with. So I chose to just get rid of that part. Excuse me. But I do think combining this with some sort of physical activity, whether it's going for a walk or even like working out for an hour or whatever, is a good idea, just because the brain works different ways when you're sedentary than it does when you're active. I don't even know what to call this in terms of technique. It's just a writing exercise, but there is a technique. And oh my God, the name of it is not coming to me at the moment. I'm having just a massive brain fart. I apologize for that. But John, maybe you're familiar with it, or Lloyd or someone else. But the idea is, oh man, hypnagogic or hypnopump, something like that. The technique is to write in absolute darkness. And I mean absolute darkness. So like I'm not even, there's nowhere in my house, we don't have blackout curtains. There's nowhere in my house that I could get absolute darkness, even at 3 in the morning. But I've written a couple poems by sitting in a classroom at Cal State San Bernardino with no windows in the middle of the library, which is this, concrete bunker of a building, with the door shut, and it's just pitch black. And it's as black as a Zoom screen is when you're teaching 30 students. It's that black. And you can't see anything, and so you've got a pen and you've got paper, and you just start writing on the paper. And of course you're not writing in neat lines. And it's even a better idea to limit yourself to something like 5 to 10 sheets of paper. And then you will, when you get to the end of your paper, flip it over and start over, and just keep writing for about 30 minutes. Maybe even longer would be good. And by the time you're done with that, you will have written over what you have written at least once, if not 2 or 3 times. And that's okay. It's a gigantic, ugly mess that you then have to translate. But what ultimately happens, somewhere about the 20-minute mark of writing in absolute darkness, I have been told by people who are more clever than I am, that that sort of unlocks something in your brain, and it allows you to sort of connect, I guess, emotionally to whatever the memory that you're working with is. And I will just tell you from my firsthand experience with having done this, that both times I did this, I wound up basically crying. Like I was in a place that was really raw and fragile by the time I had finished writing the poem. And that didn't start until probably about, 15, 20 minutes in. And then the other thing that happens with that is you have this, as I said, this layer of writing. You've got the first time you wrote on the sheet of paper, and then you've got the thing you wrote over that. And depending on how long you wrote, you might have the thing you wrote over that. And so because you're writing in darkness and you can't see it, it's usually spaced out in such a way that you can sort of figure out, based on the memory of what you just wrote and looking at this giant mess of words, you can sort of figure out the chronological order of the words, but that's almost not important. And what it does is it creates a palimpsest, right? Layered. So one layer of words and then the other layer of words, and then you can start to see the words and how they relate to each other, and maybe that creates something new in your head, or maybe it reinforces or subverts what you thought you were writing about. And it is a really fascinating thing to do. That's really fun. If you've got a room where you can get things so dark that you can't see anything, and 5 to 10 sheets of paper that you don't mind sacrificing to the experiment. And again, go for a minimum of like 30 minutes. I guarantee you're going to get something interesting out of it. Whether or not it's something you choose to publish is a whole different question. But and I want to say that is, I think there's 2 different kinds of writing. One of them, I believe, is hypnagogic writing, and one of them is hypnopompic writing. And I can't remember what the difference between the 2 is. Yeah, and I can't remember which is the correct label for what I just described to you. Because I'm having, again, sort of an extended brain fart, and I apologize for that. Speaking of brain farts, I am new to this whole sign language culture, and I really just want to express that I really hope the whole joke I made about the spirit figures thing was not disrespectful, and if it was, I sincerely apologize. That is my own ignorance at play there. In any case, yeah, if you want to do this on your own, you can just run through this exercise and then literally go exercise for 10 minutes or an hour or whatever. And if you want to try that other writing in absolute darkness, I strongly recommend it. But obviously, be safe about it. Don't do it anywhere. Don't do it in a room with a lot of like boxes of stuff on the floor. Be safe. Don't fall over. Don't break a hip.
Tim, we've got a question in the chat about buying your books.
Yeah, okay. Have you got a Twitter address or a website? Okay, so I do have a Twitter, but I don't recommend following me because I don't broadcast anything on Twitter. I mostly use Twitter to, Lloyd is confirming that I don't broadcast anything on Twitter. I mostly use Twitter to follow local news, and that's about it. But my website is, here, you know what? I'm going to be lazy and actually just paste it. Yeah, this will work. Let me make sure to send this to, okay, that didn't work. Screw it. I can type it out manually. My website is just timhat.ch, which is just Tim Hatch, right? And if you go to that website, up at the top, there is a link that says My Bariatric Year, that will take you to the various places that you can buy both volumes of my ebook. I'm actually working on volume 3 right now. It should have been out a long time ago, but 2020 turned out not to be a great year, as you all know. And I've had a very hard time writing anything or revising anything. Really hoping that I'm a lot more productive in 2021. Thank you for asking. And and yeah, the Pelicanesis link, that's great. That'll take you to the same link, to the same links to buy my book as well. Thank you for asking. And Lloyd, hypnagogic equals relating to the state immediately before falling asleep. Thank you. What was the word for one layer of words on another? That was palimpsest, I think. If I yeah, palimpsest. And it's simply, it's not necessarily related to words, but it's when you can see one thing over another thing, and there's a lot more to be discussed about palimpsest, but that's my limited knowledge of it.
Okay, I'm going to make. Does anybody have any final questions for Tim? Or Tim, do you have any words of wisdom for us?
Kelsey had a question. It was, would a blindfold work for a dark room?
You know what? And I thank you for catching that. I didn't see the question. I think a blindfold would work. as long as it's, you know, an effective blindfold. Obviously gauze isn't going to be such a great blindfold, but yeah, if you've got a nice, I don't know, double over a handkerchief or a bandana or something, that probably would work well. And again, be safe. And do I have words of wisdom? Yeah, allow yourself to write a sucky poem and then make it great in the revision. That's really where the art is, isn't it? Get the thing out and then have it down on paper or have it down in your Word doc. And then if you're unhappy with it, that's congratulations. You're like every poet who's ever been published a billion times. And yeah, the hard, brutal work is revision. And it's also the most rewarding part as far as I'm concerned. That's the only wisdom I have. Write a sucky poem and then make it great.
Great. We're going to have an announcement for next week. We have in one of our evening, I think it's the Friday evening for next week, we have Ishan Lai scheduled. She decided to change and do something else. And so we're going to turn that into an open mic. And so
Nice.
all of you who have poetry, who would love to read poetry, please bring your poetry and we'll see how much time we have on that time.
Can we read from stuff generated in the workshops here?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the stuff I'd like to hear the most. You know,
Nice.
love to hear your memory poems. It'd be fantastic.
I got a poem from Anders thing the other day. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Julia had a question in the chat. Tim, what are you going to write next?
So I'm currently working on my series of ebooks about, it's called My Bariatric Year because a year and a half ago I had bariatric surgery and I have lost literally 50% of my body weight. I'm down 236 pounds. I think my current weight is literally like 233 or 234, which no one needs to know that much specific detail, I guess. But hey, that's me. I'm Sharon. You can't spell Tim without TMI. Anyway, so I'm writing. I woke up from surgery and I had just the most clarity I've ever had in my life. I strongly recommend waking up from surgery. It's the best experience ever. You have all this clarity. The shit you have to go through to get there might be sucky, but the clarity part is awesome. And I had been working on something for several years and I just decided to put that down and start writing about what I had been through in the last year and a half and what I would go through in the next year as I recovered from this surgery and basically had to relearn how to eat. You know, you start by eating broth and nothing but, and working your way back up to, you know, adult food. And so, and I also remember thinking, man, I really wish they had given me way more information. They asked, you know, they give you all this information and then you go through the surgery and you're like, it would have been good to know X. And so I'm writing it's basically a series of journals, but I'm writing this experience, this memoir of having gone through this life-altering experience of losing a dramatic amount of weight and having to figure out how to live and how to navigate and the things you can't eat and the things, you know, everything changes, you know. There's no more soda ever again. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So that's what I'm working on. And that I'm working on volume 3 of that. And it's probably going to wind up being about 5 or 6 volumes, I think. And then I've got a collection of poetry that I would really like to get published. I'll work on that at some point too. But my current project is this memoir. And thank you for asking. Oh, and Cindy, yeah, you did it, saved your life. Yeah, 100% it saved my life. Changed my life and saved it. It's like the best thing I'd ever done. Truly wish I had done it 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Whatever. I'm glad I did it. Glad I did it when I did it. And yeah, I'm in the best health of my life at the moment, and I feel great. Off all medication. I'm going to shut up now. I literally could talk for another 2 hours about this.
That's great. Well, we thank you so much, Tim. That was fun. That's all.
Thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. It was great seeing your faces, and it was great hearing your poems.
Up next, we have Kareem Tayar, and after him, T. Anders Carson. And then tonight, we've got a reading with Kareem. You can hear his poetry. You've been to a bunch of his workshops. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.